This issue of Filler is brought to you by NexusDigitalComics.com.
Welcome to Filler. I'm your documentarian, Nick, that's not a Nat, Bach. Today, our very first episode, I will be taking you on an exploration into Marvel's Scarlet Spider. Now, I should note that names aren't always associated with monikers, so today we'll be focusing on the current man taking on the role. But first, let's take a look at the others. We start off with Ben Reilly, the Spider-Man clone. He was the original and most beloved Scarlet Spider, donning the trademark red bodysuit and blue hoodie with ripped-off sleeves. Totally awesome. Peter Parker himself took on the role of the Scarlet Spider while Ben Reilly sat in prison as he pretended to be Parker. Joe Wade was an evil Scarlet Spider brought forth by the second Doc Ock. He was first just a mental projection put together by holograms in a virtual reality chamber, but when Reilly, who was at the time Spider-Man, destroyed the chamber, Wade's mind was trapped in a cybernetic suit and became the chrome-colored Scarlet Spider. What comes next is much later during the Civil War events. The clones of Michael Van Patrick, cleverly named Michael, Van, and yes, Patrick, put on the Iron Spider suits that were reworked versions of the Iron suit that Spider-Man used. They were referred to as Red Team, but their official codename is the Scarlet Spiders. Finally, in an alternate reality, the daughter of Felicia Hardy, Felicity, takes up the moniker and the original outfit to fight crime alongside Spider-Girl. With the Scarlet Spider saga settled, we move on to the main attraction, Kaine, spelled K-A-I-N-E, for those going to Google. Kaine was the first attempt at cloning Peter Parker. He was the failure that Ben Reilly succeeded. First appearing in Web of Spider-Man number 119 and created by Terry Kavanagh and Stephen Butler, Kaine was brought forth by the villain Jackal, but because he was an imperfect clone, soon suffered the degeneration of his failing body. He both became mentally tormented and physically deformed with scars. His increasing rage made him highly unpredictable and very contradictory of himself, becoming both ally and enemy. With the powers of Spider-Man, Kaine also found that because of his condition, some abilities were even heightened. For one, his spider sense became more of a precognition. In addition, the mark of Kaine, a handprint on his victim's face, was an accelerated version of the spider ability to cling to walls. Outside of Spider-Man's ability, Kaine has a set of stingers that come out of his forearms. Mentally unstable, Kaine falls in love with a police detective and promptly kills her when he finds out that she is working with the criminals. In addition, he tries to give the other clone the life he never had. But because Norman Osborn switched some of the Jackal's files, Kaine believes that Peter is the clone and he goes after Ben to frame him for the crimes that Kaine committed, so Peter, the supposed clone, can take the role of Ben and live a normal life. This fails and succeeds in a failure as Peter Parker and not Ben Reilly is imprisoned for the crimes, but Ben takes Peter's place anyway. With Spider-Man, but not really, locked up, Kaine goes on a warpath killing off Spider-Man's adversaries. Later, after escaping prison, or an inmate hospital that was attending to his degeneration, Kaine escapes to track down Osborn to take revenge for orchestrating the clone saga, as well as killing Ben Reilly. The events are uncertain, but the outcome reveals that they both survive the encounter. In New York now, Kaine has allied himself with the villain Raptor for the cure to his degeneration. He soon finds out that he has once again been played for his desire to be whole, and retaliates in kind, choking Raptor to what may be his death. The Grim Hunt storyline follows the daughters of Kraven hunting all of the Spider-Man to resurrect their father. Kaine takes on the costume of Spider-Man and dies to save Peter. This brings back an undead Kraven. Buried as Kaine Parker, his grave is disturbed as the dead man climbs his way out and finds that he has been brought back to life by the Jackal and has been mutated further. Under the service of his creator, who was thought to be dead, he has mutated into a man-spider known as Tarantula. In the events of Spider Island and under the control of Queen and Jackal, Tarantula is sent to destroy the cure for the spider virus, which has been turning the denizens of New York into spider-gifted people who will succumb to the Queen's control, essentially forming an army. Fighting Spider-Man, Tarantula is submerged into the cure and is removed from his mutated curse, and seemingly his degeneration has been cured as well. This being in response to his fully mutated form and not the cure to the virus. Much like what happened to Spider-Man when he was morphed into a giant spider by the Queen in The Spectacular Spider-Man Disassembled. Now to his own comic. Keeping the red and black Sonic suit that he received from Peter and honoring Ben Reilly with the alias of Scarlet Spider, though reluctant to do so, Kaine makes his way to Mexico, but settles in Texas to stop a slave trafficking ring. He has most of his original abilities, but at a level equal to Spider-Man's with the exception of his seemingly non-existent spider sense. He can see in the dark and, with the suit he took from Peter, can become invisible. So we move forward from here. And that's the fill on Kaine Parker, first surviving clone to Peter. What do I hope to see in his future? Well, I want to see his underlying guilt for his past, as well as his fear of a recurrence of the deformed self, which were hinted at the end of the third comic. These are what made the character interesting and would be great to watch him struggle with. Also, since he has been mentally tormented, it might be cool to see him fight off a hallucination of himself. To further this, the Jackal is referred to Kaine as Parker 3.0. The implications of this have yet to be seen, and it would be interesting to see the statement revisited. So once again, this is Nick signing off, and yes, you have just been filled.